Guest article by Berk Gümüs.
The so-called experts agree. A volcanic eruption of the Eifel Caldera at the Lake Laach in Germany would not be imminent at present, but allegedly first in several thousand years. Excerpt from Berk. The 20th November 2021 is Germany facing a huge volcanic eruption. Researcher forecast worries something is brewing. Thorsten Damm of the German Geoscience Research Center GFZ in Potsdam, who was involved in the German study, gives the all-clear, however. A volcanic eruption in Germany is currently not imminent. The new United States study is a nice confirmation of activity in the Eifel, he said. However, the studies do not change our assessment of the volcanic hazard, says Damm. Major eruption is expected sometime in the future, most likely again in the East Eifel at Lake Laach. The development in the Eifel should continue to be monitored. Thomas Dreher from the Rheinland-Palatinate State Office for Geology and Mining in Mainz is also in favor of expanding measurements in the region. However, he does not fear a danger to people or infrastructure even in the next 1,000 years.
Translation of the tweet from the state government of Rheinland falls on February 8, 2019. With the Lake Laach in the Eifel, we wish you a nice weekend. Only rising gas balls reminds us that a volcano is slumbering here. A study now proves that it is still active, but an eruption is not imminent for several thousand years.
However, the contact reports have told a different story since 1948.
670th contact Wednesday, 11th January 2017, 2:57 p.m. Contact conversation and predictions of SFAF from Wednesday, 1st September 1948.
On the American continent much will be destroyed far and wide in a more distant time, as the great caldera will break open, which cannot be prevented, as the earth being broken open by the great Eiffel Caldera in Germany can't, whereby the upper part of Europe will become a sea of fire.
691st contact Friday, 20th October 2017, 9:47 p.m.
However, the volcano Vesuvius, which is located to the southeast of Naples and is probably known to the majority of the European population, is not the great danger, but rather what is less well known, the even more dangerous giant located nearby, the Naples caldera, or the supervolcano, which is simply called the flagrane fields, burning fields. This caldera has no volcanic cone, which is usually the case with calderas, to reveal that huge masses of magma are bubbling underground to the west of Naples. During the last big eruption, which as far as I know was about 40,000 years ago, the Earth's crust collapsed after the huge magma chamber had emptied and formed the 12-kilometer-wide caldera, which is actually a gigantic volcanic crater. This caldera, said Svarhoff, would become the most dangerous in Europe if it erupted in the third millennium, at which time many millions of human beings would have settled in the entire caldera area, and most of them would have been killed, and all human beings' achievements would also have been destroyed. But similar things would also happen one day with regard to the Eiffel Caldera in Germany and the Yellowstone caldera, whereby also with the Andreas Fault in the United States of America, where seen from today a very severe earthquake would occur in the foreseeable future, which if, however, the Naples caldera were to blow up in the coming period on about the same scale as it did some 40,000 years ago, that is to say that not only various volcanoes were to erupt, which could possibly result from the flagrane fields comprising dozens of eruption craters over 150 square kilometers, but the consequences would be catastrophic, not only because of the supervolcano itself, but also because a great many human beings would die, and also because the Mediterranean would be swept by several tsunamis, and all the countries around would be flooded far into the land. In addition, all of Europe would be covered with ash, and the sky would be darkened and carry a veil of dust for years, drastically changing the world climate and causing rapid cooling. However, the same will then also happen with the Eiffel Caldera and the Yellowstone Caldera, both of which will increasingly lose their relative dormancy and also become more and more of a danger.
683rd contact Saturday, 10th June 2017, 10:01 p.m.
Then a question: can you give a rough recommendation for a future Figu center in southern Germany if one were to be established? My question relates to where it could be safest if, for example, the Eiffel Caldera were to blow up and so on.
In southern Germany, the southeastern Swabian Bavarian area might be the most likely to be reasonably safe, though I must specifically say reasonably safe. The Eifel and its catchment areas in a wide radius will be extremely badly affected in the event of an eruption when the huge eruption takes place. The areas from southwest Germany too far into Alsace are also not recommended, because severe earthquakes will take place there, which will also spread into Switzerland via Basel, while the severe quakes will reach northwards to the Eifel Caldera of Lake Laach, where the actual origin will be.
Excerpt from Com. 6th December 2022 will erupt 100%.
German volcano fills with magma. According to experts, a volcanic eruption is imminent in Germany. According to the scientists of the Earthquake Service Southwest, there will soon be a volcanic eruption in Germany 100%. The signs are growing stronger. The region around Lake Laach in the Eifel is affected. For some time now, there have been geological processes beneath the body of water that suggest an imminent volcanic eruption. Bubbling water and smaller earthquakes are signs of magma movements underground. The quakes so far are called DLF earthquakes and have occurred in the upper mantle with low vibration frequencies. But that could soon change. What the experts say, as one scientist explained, that if earthquakes are considered worldwide to indicate the movement of magmatic fluids at great depths. Such earthquakes can be observed regularly under active volcanoes, for example in Iceland, Japan or Kamchatka. 100% probability. Bonn geology professor Ulrich Schreiber told the Express at some point there will be 100% probability of another eruption. However, it is unlikely that it could start tomorrow. The last time the volcano under Lake Laach erupted was almost 13,000 years ago.
823rd contact Thursday, 6th October 2022, 7:29 a.m.
I also saw not only the very dangerous Yellowstone caldera in America, but also various other calderas on Earth as well as in the south of Europe, in addition to the volcanoes Vesuvius, Etna and Stromboli, which I have already mentioned, where there are several submarine volcanoes in the area around it which, as far as I know, have not yet been discovered. I know Stromboli well because I once had a special experience there. There are also around 1,000 small and larger volcanic underwater ejecta in the Mediterranean. All of them belong to the Phlegrain fields, which all together form an underground active giant caldera, whereby this is heading for a tremendous eruption and will come to an eruption, as will also happen with the Eiffel Caldera in the north of Europe.
Interesting facts about this special experience in Stromboli, which is mentioned above. Excerpt from Adventures of a Globetrotter by Billy Meyer. German edition, page 61-63. The Mediterranean suddenly lies dangerously calm, and an eerie silence weighs over the waters. And as in a primeval film, the hitherto azure sky has suddenly become covered with dark, heavy clouds. Flashes of lightning hiss back and forth between the cloud banks, and a dull heavy thunder shatters the deadly silence. Something is brewing, dangerous, threatening, and powerful. It is not a thunderstorm on the high seas, no, because I lie with my nutshell only few hundred meters before the close island on which proudly and majestically the Stromboli pushes its summit into the sky. Stromboli, the Mediterranean volcano. The water, which in the meantime has become almost black, rolls heavily up into waves and finally piles up into huge breakers. Now it becomes dangerous because my boat is not built for a storm at sea. And besides, the approaching disaster is no ordinary storm, because now I feel the deadly rolling and hear a dull rumbling deep down in the water. The sea is shaking. Black clouds of smoke billow from the crater of nearby Stromboli as I look over to it. So an eruption of the volcano is imminent. Wildly struggling and lurching, my small motorboat blows across to the island, for perhaps I will still be able to reach it before the mighty powers of the Earth's interior can unleash their forces and hurl the glowing lava into the almost night-dark sky. But the battle with the waters is hard, damn hard. The approaching breakers have become gigantic and life-threatening, and only with the devil's or heaven's help do I always escape them at the very last moment before they roll over, thundering and crashing and cause the sea to foam. The resulting suction of the collapsing breakers is just as dangerous as the breakers themselves, because every now and then they stop my boat in its forward drift and pull it back again a few meters to its doom if I'm not on my guard. Like a giant magnet it works, the suction, which pulls everything with itself into the depth which cannot escape it. Again I take a look up to Stromboli, now fine fire sheens hiss up into the black sky. It will only last a short time. Then it will spew its lava, deadly and destructive. And the few hundred meters to the shore are so damned far, so close and yet so damned distant. It seems to me as if I shall never reach it. The seconds tick away and yet are not consumed. Time seems to stand still and only danger is still present. Deadly danger that destroys life, everywhere where man or animal is not on the guard or easily, sensibly goes into their gripping catches. But for me she has long lost her terror, because too often I have already looked her in the Too often it has already just at the last moment dragged me out of itself, shortly before death could catch me with its greedy hands. And it is so, I do not scream and tremble with fear, because for me everything is only what it must be, real life. If I have a feeling of fear inside me, I don't feel it, nor do I feel the danger that is in the air, but I do feel its deadly threat that it can tear apart and destroy everything that gets caught in its wake. But I don't care about this threat, because it has become everyday life for me, and therefore I don't go crazy, because if I should let my life in this hour, then okay. What can I do against that fate, which is not determined by me but from outside? Nothing. So I have to accept it simply in such a way, as it is presented to me. If I should exchange my life on earth with that of Nirvana today, then it should be so. But it is my destiny that I must end my earthly life only tomorrow or only in years, then I will come out now at least alive from this chaos, whether injured or uninjured, that plays no role further. If I am to live on, then I simply live on, even if I should capsize with the boat and perhaps be attacked by very rarely here strayed sharks, which will be however hardly the case, because that would be really an absolute rarity. And in the end it doesn't matter if I spend my last minutes in the water, in the teeth of a possible predator, or on land, because in Nirvana it doesn't bother me anymore. High up a breaker carries me before it collapses, foaming, thundering and crashing. On the crest, I can still see in the dim light that I'm only about 10 man-lengths away from the shore. Then the collapsing wave mountain sweeps me into the swirling spray and hurls me out of the boat. The water crashes over me, roaring and thundering, and the suction pulls me into the depths. I hit the bottom hard, but I am unspeakably lucky, because the seabed here is not full of stones and algae, but consists of fine sand. Pressed down by the suction, I drag on the fine sand towards the shore, driven by the rolling sea. But now a breaker rolling over me pulls me up and throws me back directly into a second one that has just come thundering up. Feeling more than seeing, I feel how the upward suction pulls me upwards, directly onto the ridge. At the top I immediately fall down again and see with salty eyes that I am already on the shore. From a height of about 4 meters I am now hurled down onto the rocky black ground on which there is only about half a meter of water left from the last breaker. And I see nothing more, but feel only the painful slapping on the water as I fall belly down into it. When I awake from my apparently prolonged swoon, I am hanging between 2 jagged rocks high above the rocky shore. The next breaker must have thrown me up there at the last moment, where I then got stuck between the rocks. In fact, I am completely dry, but feel a sharp pain in the left side of my chest. Carefully I feel the painful spot and find out that at least one rib is broken. While the sun is already burning again from the sky, the clouds have moved and the sea has come down. I climb down from the rocks and march along the shore to the nearby village, from where I cross over to Messina in Sicily with a speedboat. After a thorough examination, the doctor there tells me that, apart from a broken rib and some minor abrasions, I have so far come out of my little adventure in one piece. The Stromboli has let only a small play from the pile and come down very fast again, after the waters of the Mediterranean Sea brought by him in turmoil had hung me for 3.5 hours like a piece of laundry in rocks apparently only for drying. But the small adventure was enough for me for this time. Napoli/Italy, June 17, 1962. Guest article by Berk, Gümüs.